You're listening to the Bar and Restaurant Podcast, where hospitality lovers come to listen and learn with expert David Delorenzo. Now here's your host, the DELO.
All right, here we are. Another edition of the Bar and Restaurant Podcast. I have two special guests who may or may not critique me today because they're podcasters themselves.
Oh, yeah,
I know I'm in trouble, right?
Walking on eggshells, my friend.
So welcome Eric and Luke, or Luke
Nice
and
to
Eric.
be here.
Yeah, dude, thanks for having us, DELO.
No, of course, guys. How does it feel to be on the other side of the mic?
I like it a little bit. No pressure.
Yeah.
This is my first time, so we'll see if the hard-hitting questions come soon.
First time ever.
First time as a guest, yeah.
Very cool. Well, you've been doing a lot of judging lately. Didn't you guys just do the March of Dimes?
Yes, so I got to do 3 of them at Osteria Mia, Handlebar Diner, and Maori and Cotton at the Phoenician, and some of the best food I've ever had before. It was crazy.
Yeah, so I did judging last year, and we had to do it inside of the Wolf Center, you know, with the refrigeration and all that. And all the chefs came to us, and we judged all of them over like a 2-weekend period.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
Really
so-
cool, like kitchen set. Like, it was really
Right.
cool the way it was set up. Yeah.
So you guys actually got to go to location and enjoy the food there.
Yeah, and so Handlebar Diner, Eric and I did together, and the other 2 I did with Christina Barrueta and another one of our writers for A Taste of AZ magazine. And I liked it that way. I didn't get to experience the way you did, but going into the places, it kind of adds a little bit to the experience.
The ambiance.
Yeah,
as they say.
definitely.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So real quick, while Luke is speaking and feels comfortable at this moment,
So comfortable.
This is all about him, anyways.
it's all about him.
Already did it, yeah.
Eric's the bodyguard. Because
Standard
Luke's so popular. Tell me a little bit, just real quick, just kind of your backstory. I know that you do a lot in just marketing in general.
Yeah.
And so give me kind of a history where you grew up and why you're here now and
Sure.
what got you started.
So I was born in Utah and moved here basically right as I turned 4 years old. Have an older brother and sister. And so we all grew up in kind of the Scottsdale area. Went to Desert Mountain High School, went to ASU for about a year and a half, and then was enjoying the programming classes I was doing, but didn't really like kind of all the extra work. So started building websites. People needed pictures for their website, so I started doing that. And then it became video and then some social media management stuff as well. And really just started building out my skills as a photographer, content creator, but also on the digital marketing side, doing it specifically for businesses.
Okay. And so you specifically were doing it for businesses, and then what, did a light bulb come to you and you're like, I want to kind of do it for myself?
Yeah, well, so I was always doing it on a freelance basis, so that's always been kind of ingrained into it. But there were certain points where I started contributing to like magazines and things like that, and really liked the feeling of getting my work published, and it kind of pushes you to do better than you may do for a simple digital photo because it's going to be bigger and in print and last a lot longer. So started doing some work in publications and really, really enjoyed that and seeing my work get into places I never expected. And so that kind of broadened my horizons beyond just the marketing side of it, more into a content basis.
Gotcha. Okay. And you just moved into a new condo, right? Kind of new?
Yeah, it's technically a condo, but it's a standalone place, which is me and my girlfriend are in there, and it's awesome, man. I'm having a good time. The cats love it, and there's so much natural light, which I think we've talked about it before. Just the
100%.
natural light makes you feel better, makes you feel happier, it seems like.
Yeah, we'll get into a little health and wellness in a little bit.
Awesome.
How does I assume cats are your kids? You don't have any other kids roaming around?
Nope, no other kids roaming around. 3 cats feels like, a couple of kids running around, and they seem to get into more trouble than you would imagine some small cats can. And they all have their individual personalities. So one of them is obsessed with food, always trying to break into the pantry. The other 2 are just interesting. They're a little dynamic. They're like frenemies. They act like they don't like each other, but they do. So yeah, those are the kids.
Pets are the best, man. They're
Yeah,
the best.
absolutely.
All right, Eric, what about you, sir? Where you're Midwest, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ohio. Yeah,
Ohio.
I grew up in Ohio, but right on the border of Pennsylvania and Ohio.
Okay.
So the closest city was Pittsburgh. Yeah, so my mom's from Pittsburgh. People say, it's kind of funny, my wife's family are from like Minnesota, like Fargo, North Dakota, like Western Minnesota, like, don't you know? Type
Yeah.
So, but they make fun of me. They say I have an accent. They say I sound like I'm, and I figured out it's Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh has a really unique accent, and dialect, and it's a pretty interesting place.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And you have 2 kids, right?
2 kids, yeah. 2 daughters, yeah.
2 daughters.
10 and 8, yeah.
Yeah. Is that why you drink a lot of beer?
Yeah. It has increased in the last 10 years for sure.
That's funny.
Yeah.
And you've lived out here for how long?
Since 2007. Yeah. So I grew up in Ohio, super blue collar, assembly line, because the car assembly plants were in Youngstown, Ohio, steel mills, like all that. So it was it's like the Rust Belt, right? So it's a pretty beaten up part of the country.
Growing up, did you think that's what you were going to do? Like,
yeah, I mean, it was like if I was lucky, I was going to work at the bank, right?
Yeah,
Be like the mortgage guy at the bank or something. That was kind of what I was going into.
Right.
And I was like 27, and I was like lost. Like within 5 years, I had like probably 20 jobs, like all over the board. And I was
you were
lost.
one suit away from a banker, actually.
Yeah, right. I was. Actually, you said I should show you the suit, and I still have business cards. And my wife and my family and my friends laughed. They're like, "This was you. Like you look older at 27 on this business card than you do now at 40."
Right.
Because I had this like just terribly fitting suit. Like my hair just looked like crap, and like I didn't have confidence. You could tell looking at me, I didn't have the confidence. And so we look at it now and laugh, and I hope people look at it as, okay, he's not that loser anymore. No, I'm just kidding.
No, dude, it's all a beautiful thing. So 07, you come out here. What brought you out here?
Yeah, no opportunity. So there's no opportunity in Ohio. I had some family that lived out here for a short period of time. They're like, come check it out. So
sweet.
Loaded up my Dodge Stratus and came out.
Came out to the stratosphere.
So then I worked for like 10 years, University of Phoenix.
Okay.
I was an online academic advisor, which ironically, it's what pushed me into doing something on my own, because I was always looking for something, but I didn't know what it was. But I was like, I never want to own my own business. And then after working, that job pushed me to a point. Was like, all right, I don't want to work for anybody.
Yeah,
So,
it's funny how that works,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. So, but the skills that I learned from that directly led to the success of starting a podcast, because I was trained on conversations. I was trained on, I'm going to talk to you and we're going to just have a good time, but I have like 7 things I need to get of information from you, so it trained me to do what I do now.
Yeah. It's all about communication. I mean, that's how it's all been through sales with me. It's how you communicate with, others and what makes that successful and why it makes it interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you guys meet?
So I had reached out. I found his account on Instagram. Eric's podcast, his original podcast, is Tap That AZ, and very well respected in the community of Arizona craft beer. And so found him pretty easily, sent him a message and just said, hey, we should collaborate. And he actually was about to attend Real Wild and Woody, the beer festival, in like a week or two. And he's like, if you want, I can get you free tickets to get in, and you can come and just kind of hang out and grab some shots. And I was like, okay, why not? And
He
went there.
He didn't swipe left.
No, he wanted to vet me through a beer conference, I guess. But so we met at the festival actually, and it was funny because I couldn't even get a hold of him and get in. He had my ticket, and there was no service at the Phoenix Convention Center, and so couldn't get a hold of him. Finally got there, and it was just him by himself with his podcast gear and a bunch of merch to sell, but no one to sell it. So I was kind of doing
all of it.
Yeah.
My wife that morning, she's like, "Who are you doing the podcast?" I'm like, "Yeah." "Who's like selling the merch?" I'm like, "Me."
Yeah,
"How?
I'm an
How do you do it?"
octopus.
I'm like, "Oh shit." I was like, but yeah, so that's when Luke came in.
Yeah, so we met that day, and I was doing beer runs and then selling merch in between that, and just kind of seeing how he operated, and very quickly realized, the network of people that he had built relationships with, from Cider Core to BRI, and he was telling me, oh, go get this beer from these people. And before that, all I had really drinking local craft beer-wise was Scottsdale Blonde. And so after doing that and just kind of meeting up and seeing what we wanted to do together, we decided to move forward with our first project, which was the Arizona Beer Book. So that came out in December of 2019.
Yeah, it's right there on the shelf.
Oh,
Right behind you.
yeah.
Right there. Pull it out. Pull it out. And people, we are videotaping this. So there you go. Arizona Beer Book. It's usually always sitting here.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. Yeah. So this was your guys' first collaboration, big one?
Correct.
First project together. It wasn't even like, hey, let's write an article. was like, hey, let's do a book.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a shotgun wedding.
That's right. Yeah. Well,
And
this
he wanted to do something like this before, and like I said, I had worked in publishing a little bit with my photography, and so it was just kind of a way for us to create something a little bit different. There was a niche for it, obviously, and get to start working with a lot of these breweries with a real hard product. And it worked out wonderfully. We got 37 breweries in there from all over Arizona, Tombstone up to Kingman. And like I said, it released in 2019, so it's going on, what, 2 years now? Is that correct? Yeah. So yeah, it's been a wonderful project, and we had a blast getting it out there and keep doing the same thing.
So while we're on the book, I mean, it's obviously published. It's still in, actually newer than older circulation, and still available. Where could people buy this?
You can just go to thearizonabeerbook.com
Cool.
and purchase a copy. It'll get shipped to you for free, no charge for shipping. But it's also in breweries across Arizona, and then in Barnes and Nobles as well.
Yeah, I think did you see it on my front counter there?
I took
Yeah.
I love that.
So, no, that's cool. So the first time you guys met, you basically got shit-faced and he professed his love to you, and there you go. It was a relationship?
Yeah, that's essentially how it went.
You never
That
left?
was, you
No.
didn't even take a note of that. That was just off the
Right.
I mean, it really was kind of that just happened, what I mean? We worked well together, and we kind of shared the same value of, really wanting to support local businesses and kind of take part in the community and bring our own unique perspective to the table. And so the beer book really kind of captured that in the craft beer community as he continued to do his podcast. And we decided pretty soon after that food could not be left out of the things we were covering. And so last May, it was when we started a Taste of AZ podcast.
Yeah.
And so it's been about a year and a half since that began, and that's been a blast, just interviewing local food and beverage companies and starting the magazine as well.
Yeah. Okay. So let's kind of timeline this, or not timeline it. Let's outline it so the listening audience can kind of understand this. So Eric's doing his own podcast. It's Tap That, right?
Tap That AZ.
Tap That AZ, and it's all beer focused, brewery focus, all that.
Yep.
And then you guys get together. You do that. You're still doing the podcast, obviously, and you're probably helping him at this point. But you're also doing that. You do this Arizona Beer Book.
Yep.
Yes.
Now you don't want to leave food out of it, so now you guys have another podcast. So you have two podcasts up and running right now.
Correct.
Cool.
Yeah. So Tap That AZ, Totally Beer, A Taste of AZ. There's some overlap, but kind of stays not away from the beer, but it doesn't lean into beer nearly like Tap That AZ does.
Yeah. And it's it's obviously a podcast about stories and product and how things are made and all of that. I mean, both podcasts really, but you guys are really celebrating Arizona, which is very magical, which is very cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So now let's get into the magazine, which I have a copy sitting here. And A Taste of Arizona, not to get confused with Tap That AZ or...
So this is under the same banner as the Taste of AZ podcast. Yeah.
It's like, okay. It's
Okay,
like,
there's a
you said,
magazine to go with the book to
It's
go
like
with.
Charlie on the
Yeah,
Sunny
yeah.
said
Yeah. So yeah, it's basically an extension of the podcast, as you would imagine.
Yeah.
Local food and beverage. So
Yeah.
A Taste of AZ is kind of the big umbrella, and then Tap That AZ is kind of a more niche version, since the Arizona beer scene is kind of such a unique, novel thing.
Right. And this is a very sincere and loving question, but I put it this way for the aspect of entertainment, okay? Why the fuck does anybody want to read a magazine? Seriously, what are your answers?
Swear so.
Oh, you can swear all you want here.
All right.
I'll tell you why I do,
everything.
because, okay, first of all, and we've talked about this before, this is one of the most well-done magazines I've
Thank
seen
you.
in decades. I mean, let alone. And so, it's so nice to have something to hold on to look through that's like really beautifully written. And I mean, artistic wise, just like the whole thing's amazing. And so, to have something new like this to come to the Valley and to really focus on Arizona Valley stuff, and as I kiss your guys' ass here, it's really because I'm excited to be a part of it. I'm an advertiser in here.
Yes.
And the minute you guys came to me, I was like, yeah, why not? If anything, it's about being a part of something that's bigger than all of us. It's all of us together supporting local. And so, I asked that question in loving care to you guys, because I'm sure there's a moment you're just sitting there going, yeah, I think we'll start a magazine. Is this really a good idea?
I'm pretty sure I said the exact same words to him. Why the fuck would we start a magazine, right?
Yeah. So tell me how this all came.
So the magazine that I actually worked with before I linked up with Eric was a cannabis magazine that kind of was telling stories of cannabis, but with the medicinal perspective, and not, like a party thing. And so people really, really loved picking up that magazine and seeing those stories. And so when we did the book, we got asked the same question: why do a book in this day and age? Isn't print dying? Well, what we found is if you have, a ton of different distribution spots all over Arizona where people are in there already enjoying craft beer, the book touches a lot of people. We found, people at Wanderlust up in Flagstaff that tell us they found new breweries because of the book. And so when we start hearing about experiences like that, a light bulb goes off in our head of how do we kind of manifest more of those experiences and capitalize on our network of people that are drawing in individuals that are interested in local craft food and beverage, people that want to pay more and seek out places like a Chula Seafood, maybe a little bit more on the premium side, but the story behind what they're doing and who they are to Arizona food and beverage, how do you not want to support a business like that?
Yeah, and I think it's a great gateway from people to kind of step back from their phones and actually, engulf themselves into something that,
100%
is tangible.
Yeah. It's a stress reliever instead of a stress inducer.
Yeah.
Right? People love sitting down, and it's pretty cool because for the most part, we hand deliver all of the magazines, like not to the individual subscribers.
Yeah, but to the places,
to
right?
the breweries, restaurants. And it's so cool because you give people the magazine and immediately they open it and immediately they recognize things that they know. They're like, oh, I love going to, the Haunted Hamburger, or, oh, dude, I love DELO, right? Getting, those
cool.
types of things.
You actually get maybe the most compliments of any picture or anything. People flip it open and the first thing they almost always say is, oh, that's DELO right there. Yeah.
I'm very sorry about that, people.
Was it Rick from Merc Bar was the last one?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, there I am. How crazy is that? No, it's great. I absolutely love it. Explain a little bit the process of the magazine and all, not all, but what it takes to really publish, produce, and put something together like this. Because this is a quarterly, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And free.
And free.
And free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's paid for by advertisers and your guys sweating in tears.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and because it's quarterly, we have a little bit more time to produce it. If this was a monthly magazine, which I've worked with before, that you almost feel like you're like stuck in a hamster wheel. Because as soon as you finish one photo shoot or article, it feels like you've already got another one that you're behind on. So with this, basically what the process is like on the content production side is we have a team of writers. Christina Barrueto is one of them. Marcy Symington, fantastic local writers that are very well connected in the scene. Allison Balin is another great one. Stephen Larson, Isaac Stockton down in Tucson. And so we will maybe have a few articles that we want to see in the magazine. But for the most part, a lot of the content in the magazines are pitches by our contributors, the ones that I just went through. Yeah. And so we'll, just settle on a word count and get that ball rolling. And once I get an outline from them, I can start shooting the photographs. And then so we'll kind of take the photographs and the writing and begin to build a very basic design and then just enhance it, bring in more components. So like in the Alex Strada article, in this issue, you'll see a leaf that is just like a little icon that we pulled, but it's actually one of the plants that they have in there. And if you've ever been in Campo before, it has a very unique feeling, a lot, in part because of the element of kind of like a natural design that the plants everywhere bring in. And so, really just kind of go through several steps of beautifying and enhancing. Of course, we go through multiple edits of the writing and photography, and then we talk with the printer to get them to approve the proof, which is basically them saying, okay, everything fits properly, the colors are all right. And then print takes about 7 days. We print locally here. Yeah. So that's one of the really cool things that we've been able to do is work with a local printer and keep as much of this project in Arizona. And then they arrive at our shipping hub, which is basically right off Central. It's a lovely guy named Bill Fessler, who was a huge help with the beer book as well. Yeah. So shout out to Bill. And then the magazines come in, and Eric takes up a lot of the distribution side of it with my help as well. But Eric, if you wouldn't mind talking a little bit about getting the magazines out in the world.
Yeah. Well, and then also the side of it, Luke is running the designing, working with the writers, and dude, our writers are awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Not only do they say, hey, I have an idea about this. They're like, I have an idea about this, and here's basically 200 words of it, and then here's all the bullet points.
Yeah.
And we're like, hell yeah. So
Well, and they know the industry.
yeah, they know the industry, they
Yeah.
know the people to make it happen, so we can get in and get photos, and
It's awesome.
but we run it, very efficiently. So if people start paying attention, what's in the magazine will most likely, I don't know, what do you say? 2/3 of the cases will be an episode as well. Podcast
Of our
episode.
podcast,
Yeah,
yes.
because if we're there doing photos, like for the magazine,
Yeah.
we're going to sit down with them and do a podcast. So it's getting efficient in those aspects.
That's and that was kind of my other question to parlay off of that is like how good has the magazine been for the podcast and for all the other stuff that you're doing? It's almost like an advertising tool for yourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is.
absolutely.
They are instrumental to the success of each other because so many of the people that we are able to build new relationships with and make them comfortable with us telling their story through the magazine and
Yeah.
other means. The podcast is huge for that because as I'm sure you're aware doing it, when you get these business owners and are able to just talk with them and have them tell their story for 30 minutes to an hour, you get to understand them in a way that not a lot of people have that kind of exposure to the owner of
Even
a
their best
business.
friends, like even their best, because you're not going to sit down and say, hey, tell me your whole story in 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Like,
Let's
shut
talk
up.
work for an hour. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people listen to it and follow this stuff just to learn more about their peers and,
Right.
But so as Luke's kind of, working with the writing team and getting things designed and all that, I'm talking with people getting advertisers on board, right? Because that's how this thing's paid for. It's paid for advertisers, and we're really like, we don't want you to turn to, page 3 and there's a big air conditioning company,
Yeah,
So
right.
we wanted our advertisements to be just as exciting as the content.
Yeah.
And we've gotten so many compliments of like, dude, we started even like business to business. Like we dropped some magazines off to this business and they see an ad for this whiskey.
For
and they're
friggin' DELO too.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right? You have
Yeah.
somebody that, from being on the podcast. So it's just cool that, every piece of it is Arizona food and beverage.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You know?
there's so much going on out here, and there's so much room for people like ourselves to help each other and share
Absolutely.
in the greater wealth of helping society. Because it's
Yeah.
like you can't get the word out enough, and there's not enough people with all the great stuff that's opening out here. When people subscribe, so you can subscribe at a tasteofaz, all one word, .com. Again, atasteofaz.com. When people subscribe, do they get a downloaded version or do you mail them a copy or?
On that subscribe page, there is like all the digital versions
Oh, cool.
of previous issues. But then basically moving forward, once they're subscribed, you'll get that new issue mailed to you, the physical
Yeah,
issue.
so we ship them out once a quarter.
Yeah.
So it's not like every time you subscribe, like if somebody subscribes today, we're not sending one out tomorrow,
No,
but
right.
they'll
No.
get the next issue. So shipping them in just one bulk shipment. Some people are like, when's my magazine coming? If you have subscribed to a Taste of AZ magazine after like the last week before the start of a new quarter. So quarter 4 starts October. If you subscribed at the beginning of September, then in the first basically 2 weeks of October, you should receive your magazine. And so they take a little bit longer to ship sometimes, especially in the midst of, the chaos of all the shipping right now.
Yeah.
But if you subscribe, you will receive magazines basically within the first 2 weeks of the start of every quarter.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's like getting Magnolia, when you walk in
Sure.
your mailbox.
Yeah.
Very sexy. I love it.
Better.
Well, let's talk about your guys. You're in media, but you're also in the food business, kind of like I'm in insurance, but I'm also in the hospitality
Yeah.
business. And, it doesn't always have to mean that you have to partake in any and everything that you do. I mean, you should partake in what you enjoy. I know you
Sure.
love beer. I know you love food.
Yeah.
So that's great. But what are some things that you're able to do, and both of you can kind of talk on this, in order to curtail, let's just say, going off on the deep end and having too much of an enjoyment
Yeah.
because this is your life, So what are some physical and mental and, just healthy aspects of your life that you're able to utilize within your own perspective to kind of counterbalance also enjoying pizza and beer and all the things that you write about?
I don't know if I've got there yet. I'm just kidding.
That's a fair answer. Most people have not.
Well, that's another thing that kind of goes along with our personal relationship is, we've both struggled with, anxiety or,
Yeah.
certain things like that where we've been able to, both of us implementing meditation and
Beautiful.
just talking with each other. So our partnership is opposite as we are in like some of the stuff on paper.
Yeah.
Like as far as morals and your values and everything, like we're aligned, man.
Yeah.
So we both want to continue to grow, and we just kind of bounce things off each other sometimes. Things that are working.
Yeah.
And stuff
like any business owners, you're going to experience days of anxiety. Really, you don't have to be a business owner to experience that. But when you are a business owner, particularly with someone else that you share a business with, you're going to have a lot of the same issues, right? The same worries, so whether it be money, whether it be, working X amount of hours and being away from your family. There's, like Eric said, a lot of things you can bounce off of each other. With that said, we both have, I wouldn't say opposite personalities, but very different personalities. And so being able to kind of give a unique perspective to each other is huge on that. And so communication with business owners is obviously instrumental to being able to maintain a personal relationship, because you have to have a relationship with the people that you're in business with. And beyond our relationship, surrounding ourselves with good influences. You're someone that we are gravitating towards all the time. We see each other, maybe not every month, but often enough that we can kind of remind each other, almost even subconsciously. I was thinking this morning, if I don't go on a run before DELO's podcast, that's something I gotta handle, and I didn't. And so now tonight I'm making plans for, how can I shoot some hoops outside or something like that, and let that be a positive influence.
Absolutely. I mean, if that's something that's positive within somebody's life, because I'm a reminder to that, because I'm an absolute maniac on stories and I just am who I am. I think that's great. Not everybody's willing to, or nor do they want to share their life or who they are or how they are, this and that. And so when you guys are the yin to each other's yang, it's nice. I have the same relationship with my business partner, and it doesn't, sometimes when people are exactly the same, that's when rifts, can occur.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, and, we in a certain sense try and hold each other accountable as well, because when there is something off, and, Eric can get the sense of when I'm feeling a little bit funky, or myself with him. And so it's, checking in, hey, have you been working out lately? Have you been doing this? And if not, being on their case necessarily, but just mentioning, hey, maybe you should start doing that again. Cause I noticed when you were feeling good for a couple months, you were working out all the time and stuff like that.
Or let's go have our business meeting on a hike today,
Sure.
Grab a salad at Urbox, we did. So no, that's cool. Well, I got a couple quick fire questions I want to ask you guys. You both can answer or whatever. Major League Baseball or the NFL?
NFL.
I don't watch either. I watch combat sports is my kind of gig, so I'll throw that out there.
Whatever you're, it's okay.
Of course, I got to make
there's no right or wrong
that.
answers. Valentine's Day or Columbus Day?
Valentine's Day.
Yeah, Valentine's Day.
Yeah, that's kind of a trick question. Like, what is Columbus Day?
Exactly. I'm like, what's going on here?
As time goes forward more, you realize I like Valentine's Day. More and more.
Beer or pizza?
Beer.
Pizza.
Wow, that surprises me out of your mouth.
Just real quick. So it took me forever to realize, I'm 43. I'll be 43. It took me until the age of 41 to know that I was meant to be around food and beverage, even though I have eaten probably more food than anybody at my age.
Yeah.
He's hard to keep up with on trips.
That's amazing.
So I'm like, why did it take me so long to find out the food is my path, right? Because I love beer.
Yeah, but food is where it's at.
Yeah, food's where it's at.
Okay, on that theme then, pie or ice cream?
Pie.
Pie.
See, I'm gonna throw this out there too, because I keep making it complicated. Pie with ice cream, right? I'm the kind of person that it's like, pie is on a certain level, ice cream is, but when you mix the two,
you mix them together, it's heaven.
That's right.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Skydiving or CrossFit?
I don't know about either of those.
Skydive.
Yeah, I guess skydiving.
Yeah, that'd be less embarrassing, I think.
Would you rather? Well, and I guess I know the answer to this for you. Would you rather go to like a big foodie event or a beer festival?
Probably a foodie event. Beer festivals get a little tiring.
Is there beer at the food festival?
No.
We're kind of ruining this whole quick fire question thing, aren't we?
I guess. I mean, whatever festival you want. All right, last one. Snoop Dogg or Pearl Jam?
Snoop Dogg.
Oh man, these are tough.
I should make it easy for you.
Pearl Jam.
Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
Okay, look at see, you guys are the yin and
Yeah,
the
yeah,
yang.
seriously.
This is awesome. Okay, so before we tap out here, let go over one more time all of the stuff that you guys have and where people can find you because it's important. I want them to add, follow them, do everything. You know.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So tapthataz.com is the website on all the favorite podcast apps. Tap That AZ Podcast. And then we have A Taste of AZ.
A Taste of AZ podcast and magazine. So if you go to atasteofaz.com, you'll be able to see all our articles, digital magazines, sign up for future print issues, and then Arizona Beer Book as well. So just thearizonabeerbook.com, grab your copy. Wonderful coffee table book, but also a great gift as we're coming into the season.
Yes.
And then lastly, we do some photo video stuff. So if you ever need any help with your business marketing,
Yeah,
let us know.
that's great to know. Especially if you're a hospitality person, you know, looking out here and you need help with, you know, any of that sort of stuff.
Yep, absolutely.
I would say this too is like the photos in that magazine are.
This is a resume of anything. Yeah.
That's
There you
his
go.
photos
Yeah.
are every single issue better and better. And
No,
better.
that's awesome. And then are you going to do a food book? Is that in the?
We're mulling over a few different ideas. Haven't figured out exactly what direction we
Okay.
want to go. Christina Barueta did probably about as good of a food book as you could do for
Right.
Arizona with the Phoenix Cooks book. So if you are looking for a food book, definitely check out Phoenix Cooks.
Awesome. All right. That's so cool. You guys to help co-promote and she's amazing as well. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for being on. Luke, I had to do it once.
Yeah.
You did it with the helmet on last time I was here, I
Oh,
think.
that's right. Hold on. Hold on. Before we leave, let me get my Stormtrooper
Is there anything
helmet.
for me to wear?
Here we go.
Hold on.
Oh, here we
Is that
go.
a real helmet?
I have a Stormtrooper helmet
That's
on
nothing.
right now. That's an old football helmet.
Luke, I am.
I love it, man.
Anyways, all right. I had to get my cheesy Star Wars stuff in before we
A
head
young
out.
Luke did karate, and my sensei would make that joke every time he would talk to me ever. So
It's great.
came a little numb to it.
All right, folks. Thank you for listening to the Bar and Restaurant Podcast. Again, I am your host, the DELO. The podcast is sponsored by myself, Bar and Restaurant Insurance. Check us out for anything. I'm here to consult you guys on anything, even more than insurance. And I'm so happy to have these guys in here today. Thanks for listening. Give them a 5-star and subscribe. Appreciate it. Peace.
Cheers.